G'day, Chief. Welcome to the Chief podcast and this special episode, which we call the Mini Chief. These are short, sharp highlights from our fabulous CEO guests, where you get a 5 to 10 minute snapshot of the highlights from their episode. Righto, Chief. Without further ado, here is the Mini Chief episode for this week with Matt Abrahams, the author of Think Faster, Talk Smarter. Let's talk a bit about this 6-step method to think faster, talk smarter. Why that particular problem that you're solving? Like, have you seen having this all the time? And what are the 6 steps?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, growing up with the last name Abrahams, I always went first. So I understand firsthand the pressure of in the moment having to speak. But if we all think about it, and as you alluded to in your introduction, most of our communication is not planned. It's not the presentation, the pitch, the meetings with agendas. As leaders and just as human beings, we are constantly speaking in the moment, answering questions, giving feedback, introducing ourselves, fixing the mistakes we've made, making small talk. All of those are what I call spontaneous speaking. And if we've ever had any training on communication, it is mostly in a planned way. Very rarely do we talk about how to speak in the moment. So that was the underlying impetus for this. The real causal start of all of this is the deans at Stanford's business school came to me about 9 years ago with a problem. They said our incredibly bright students are struggling with cold calling. Remember back in school where the teacher would say, "What do you think?" and you had to respond. And these amazingly bright students who knew the answers were not able to articulate themselves well. And the professors were disappointed. The students felt bad. So as the communication guy, they said, "Hey, can you help us?" And so I did a deep dive into multiple fields of study, into psychology, sociology, anthropology, neuroscience, even improvisation. And through that came the development of this methodology that you're referring to. It's got 6 steps. The first 4 are all about mindset and approach. And then the last 2 steps are about messaging. How do I structure message and focus it? So this is all designed to help us think faster. And when I say think faster, I literally don't mean the clock speed of your thoughts. I mean pattern recognition. What makes an athlete great at what they do is they are able to recognize patterns very quickly, and based on those patterns, respond. And so we can actually prepare to be spontaneous, just like an athlete might do a whole series of drills. So when they're in the game, they can respond in the moment. So that's think faster. Now, talk smarter is all about just being more efficient and making sure your communication is clear, concise, and compelling. So that's what the methodology is designed to do. I'll give you some insight into the actual steps without itemizing all of them. It starts with anxiety management. As we've already discussed, anxiety looms large in both planned and spontaneous speaking. We can learn to manage it. We have to change the way we see these situations. Many of us see them as threats, yet they could be opportunities, so that reframe is helpful. And many of us want to be perfect in our communication. We want to give the right answer, the best feedback, be the most interesting. And that pressure we put on ourselves actually works against us achieving those goals. And then the final step in mindset, and this is one that people find very counterintuitive, is listening. Much of success in communication comes from listening. Not just to the words that are said, but how they're said, where they're said, when they're said. That can give you tremendous insight. And if I think about it and really reflect on what you're saying, that can help me respond in the moment better. And then the last 2 steps have to do with structure. We've already addressed it, rather than listing information. And then the final step is, once you have a structure, how can I make the information in the structure concise? Attention is the most precious commodity we have in the world today, at least in my mind. And how can we not only get people's attention, but sustain it? Sustained attention I define as engagement. And you have to think about concision, being clear, being concise. My mother has this wonderful saying. I know she didn't create it, but I attribute it to her. Tell the time, don't build the clock. Many of us are clock builders when we communicate. So if we can have the right mindset and approach, we structure our messages, and we work on being concise and clear, we can be much better communicators in any situation, but especially spontaneous speaking.
Are there any structures in particular that you would say, if you just had this in your back pocket, it would help?
Let me give you one.
Yep.
I think this structure, I call it the Swiss Army knife of communication, because you can use it in so many circumstances. It's 3 simple questions: what, So what? Now what? What is the information you're sharing? It could be your update, your feedback, your product, your service, your belief. So what is, why is it important and relevant to the person or people you're talking to? And then the now what is what comes next. It might be, let me show you and I do a demonstration, or let me take your questions, or let's set up another meeting. If I'm giving feedback, it's here's what I think you should do next time. So by leveraging a structure, it can help. And I encourage everybody to think about, and this is not just speaking, this is writing. I don't know about you, Greg, but I get emails sometime where I'm reading going, what the heck is the person want? If the subject line is the now what, the action, and then the body of the email is the what in the so what, all of a sudden it becomes much easier for me. So leveraging a structure like that can be very helpful. Now, if you'll allow me, I want to take a time out. I just use that structure to answer the question. I told you what the structure was. I told you why it was important and gave you examples of how you can use it. It's an easy way to package information. A good structure does two things for you fundamentally. First thing it does is it makes it easy for your audience to understand you because it is clear, concise, and logical. The second thing it does is it helps you as the communicator prioritize what you want to say. When I need to say something, I can say it in lots of ways, and this helps me prioritize. What am I trying to get across? Why is it important to you? And what do I want you to do next? By answering those questions, it helps me focus and prioritize. So many structures exist: comparison, contrast, conclusion, past, present, future, what's problem, solution, benefit. Many people know STAR, situation, task, analysis, results. These are all different structures. So find the ones that work for you and deploy them.
Chief, there you have it for this week with our mini Chief episode.
All the links and resources can be found in the show notes. Just go to chiefmaker.com/33.
And if you'd like to stay in touch with Chief Maker, just go to chiefmaker.com/subscribe.
Chief, one of the core skills of all great chiefs is the ability to interview and recruit the very best performers to your team. Now, many chiefs say to me that they get up to 25 or even 40% of their recruitment decisions wrong. Now, many of you who listen to this show will know that over the last 6 years, we have asked dozens of CEOs what is their number one interview question when recruiting for senior roles. What we have done is turn that into an invaluable resource. It is the 30 most powerful interview questions used by CEOs to hire high performers. These are the questions that reveal the true nature of the person in front of you. They are the ones that give or create that truth-telling moment that will help you decide whether to hire or not. Chief, if you want this resource, just go to chiefmaker.com/interview and just pop in your details and download the detailed PDF.
Righto, Chief. As always, remember to stay epic.